The energy goes down, vata becomes weak. So taking a cat nap can give a good boost until 6 o'clock. And also precaution for vata, they should not exercise at the end of the vata time, because vata is so depleted and you stimulate it, then it becomes difficult for you to unwind and go to sleep. Like at end of the day, some people try to go and do jogging or do a lot of physical exercise around 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock. So you basically activate your nervous system. Then it becomes difficult to fall asleep. But a kapha could use this. Kapha should not be sleeping around like a late afternoons taking a nap, because they can harvest this vata energy to be more active and be productive. And same time, kapha can exercise. If you are overweight, having a lot of kapha symptoms, lethargic, heaviness, you can exercise in the evenings. So this could be used if you have an excessive kapha or an imbalance of kapha.
Hello everybody and welcome to Illuminating Dialogues number 18, where I again have the very special pleasure of inviting Dr. Sujatha on the podcast for the third time. Thank you again, Dr. Sujatha, for coming on and sharing your wisdom with us.
It's always my pleasure, Jhoty. Hi everyone.
No, thank you so much for coming on. And last time, for those of the viewers who haven't watched, we looked at Illuminating Dialogues number 9, which is Dr. Sujatha introducing us to the Ayurvedic wisdom. And episode number 12, we looked at dosha balance. We went deeper into the doshas. And on this episode, we're going to go a bit more deeper into dosha relationships. So we left on last time about the seasons. So we also talk about time and the relationship to each other in a professional and personal context as well. Yeah, just as we start this illuminating dialogue, it's always a space to journey to a place that we haven't maybe gone through, both for the speakers and to illuminate the listeners as well. And those who don't know, Dr. Sujatha is a certified Ayurvedic doctor from Karnataka, India, and practiced as an Ayurvedic consultant in Europe, and is actually in Germany. And the head physician of co-founder of Amrita Siddhi Ayurvedic Center in Bali, and was also my consultant last year. So as we begin this podcast, maybe we can start the conversation around the seasons and dosha. So if you can just remind us again, what are the dosha's relationships to the seasons as we approach summer here in the Northern Hemisphere?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think those who have listened to me last class, I think this would be an expansion of what you heard. There are seasons inside our body also. Particularly, this is more experienced by women, who having menstrual cycle. It's a season itself. And in general, Ayurveda is all about understanding cause and effect. Seasons changes more in Europe and I think Northern America, but less in Asian countries. We do have seasons, like in India has season. But the country that I live in, Indonesia, we only have 2 seasons. So I'm mainly talking here where there is seasons which clearly changes. And it influences dosha and affects the dosha, either increasing the dosha quality or decreasing the dosha quality. In Ayurveda, when we talk about influence of dosha on the prakriti or your constitution, it basically happens in 3 stages. One, the initial increase in dosha takes place, and then the predominant aggravation takes place, and then it gently comes down. The season itself that has an influence. So our idea is knowing the influence of the external season on our body. So we take some precautions. So not to increase the certain dosha which are natural to us. For example, talking about the summer. In this summer, peak of summer, where the weather is very hot, so our pitta naturally aggravates. Before that, there is a stage where we call vata slightly aggravates, but it's not in a state that it's disturbing or causes any imbalance in the body. There is a slight aggravation of vata. Then summertime, anybody who is pitta constitution, you got to be extra careful about any of the activities you love to do, particularly steam and sauna. You don't want to do it at that time. You don't want to eat too much of spicy food, oily food at that time. Generally speaking, the diet should contain more of cooling food. Maybe here is the time you can enjoy a lot of salads and a lot of fruits. You don't need any heavy food to eat here if you're a pitta constitution during the summertime.
Mm.
And in the fall, it's a time for vata to aggravate. If you see outside as a fall, it's like a windy, it's rain. It has all the qualities of vata aggravation: cold, dry wind, wetness, dampness, all those things. So vata aggravates, and that's where people experience more of arthritis, joint related issues and stuff, because that's a vata predominant diseases, aches and pain, all those things. So we'll talk in detail. So anything you want to do during this fall season is keep yourself warm, dry, and comfortable and oiled. I would not say keep yourself dry. You don't want to get wet, but you keep yourself moist with oil and good natural cream on your body, all those things to prevent the affliction of the wind on your body when you go out and you have to carry on your life activities. And then comes the early winter and the deep winter. That's where the kapha gets aggravated. And people with the kapha constitution, you have to be more careful here, because it will have direct impact on increasing kapha and creating more of the accumulation of kapha. But one thing here interesting is during the winter, even though kapha aggravates, it's not going to show the manifestation of the kapha diseases during the winter or the disturbances of kapha. People say, oh, in winter, I gained a couple of pounds. Okay, it's an influence of kapha. It's going to affect any constitution, but the kapha imbalance or diseases, if you haven't taken care of your diet and lifestyle during the winter, you're going to see more during the spring. Because kapha is, in the winter, aggravated kapha is stagnant, it's not moving. But as the spring starts, we see the early rays of sunshine and some warmth, it makes the kapha to melt. Kapha is like a solidified. So it makes the kapha melt because of the warmth in spring. That's why people get allergic diseases in springtime, because the excess kapha which got accumulated during the winter season start to melt during the winter. And people say, oh, there's nothing much happening. Only I feel a bit of melancholic, depression, heaviness, unmotivated, don't like to do physical activities. This is just in a very early signs of stagnation from the accumulated or increased kapha during the winter time. And the diseases start to manifest, like skin diseases, allergies, sinus issues happens in spring, because warmth is needed for the stagnant kapha to move and spread and irritate and manifest into a disease itself. So this is the seasonal influence on doshas. Yeah, then we can talk more about lifestyle and diet, how we can take care of ourselves.
Yeah, it seems like the equinox or the solstice, it's like that's where we kind of have to be careful or make some changes in that instance. So is there any particular changes that you recommend as a collective people make in terms of when the equinox happen? Or would that be specific to each dosha having to make a certain change?
It will be specific to each dosha. Change happens in the sense, like even though there are 3 seasons affecting the 3 doshas, also we call Uttarayana and Dakshinayana, the long daytime saving, and then the a long daytime and the shorter nights. The energy is much more stronger when you have a long daytime, so daytime saving. So that means the sun is in a longer period of time. So we have the energy of the sun. So we have a lot of energy, but you have to be careful. Even though the day is longer, you feel energetic, enthusiastic, active, and all those things. But you have to protect your energy. When the sun is so strong, your energy is going to be depleted. This is also one thing feels contradictory to general average people. Ayurveda suggests you exercise more in cooler winter season than in summer season. We generally think summer feels comfortable, so we go and exercise, do jogging, running, and exert ourselves, sweat a lot. It's depleting on your tissues. To counterbalance the stagnation energy that we have in wintertime, we got to exercise more there to keep the body temperature up, burn the fat, have the circulation happening. So the ideal time to do a lot more intense activity is more of winter time. And summer, definitely much less. Engage in activities which is cooling. Ayurveda talks about different kinds of activities during summer is swimming, taking a long walks in the forest, being in the shade, having fun and playful time with your family and friends. This is what generally recommended, like you go out for a picnic in a park, stay under the tree and just be playful. But winter is the time you want to do heavy duty activities. In the fall, it's middle, because vata get aggravated if you do too much of physical activity. So it recommends you to do activities in a warmer weather. Here, it's a time for to do all the people who likes to do the Bikram yoga or warmed heated room exercises that you can enjoy more in the fall time. So which beautifully supports vata, the warmth and the sweatiness, makes it skin well lubricated and supportive. This is how the activity related, and also the transition from moving from one season to the other season generally mentioned that at the end of the season, a week before the season ends, and the week before the season begins, so that we call cusp. And you want to merge the lifestyle practice of the last season and introduce slowly the new season lifestyle and diet. And then you move towards the new season diet and activities. So for summer, if you've been eating salads and doing a lot of fun activities outdoors, so you want to keep a little bit of salad, you reduce them, but you introduce more of a warm cooked food and different activities, which is support you for the fall season. The middle cusp period is transition period is very important. You're not going to jump from one season to other so quickly. So you slowly transit. So body adapts to any changes that goes in the nature, and the dietary requirement to adjust that, you transit very smooth and soft.
So it's keeping that balance almost with the relationship of the whole seasons, because that did seem counterintuitive to me. That hey, I thought in the summertime I would go out and start running. And so does that also play into the relationships, obviously with the solar relationships you were mentioning? For females, there's a certain cycle. For males, I assume there would also be maybe a cycle, maybe a longer cycle. I know right now we're having some solar flares. So does this kind of, in a larger cycle in terms of our solar system, does Ayurveda recognize this as well?
Yeah, it does recognize that how sun is positioned with respect to the earth, it has an influence. That's why Uttarayana and Dakshinayana, so where the sun is more towards the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere. So people need to change their lifestyle based on that. When there is a long nights, you want to, because it's a kapha related, it's a moon energy. So tendency for stagnation is there. So you can be more physical active to balance that. And in a way, during the winter, what I said just before, having more physical activities during the winter also in a way to prevent the stagnation of the kapha. So you don't have to end up having sinus issues, allergic issues, skin issues in the springtime. So you do exercise, you burn, you reduce the stagnation. So nothing left when spring comes, when channels open, warmth felt by your body. So everything circulates without ama.
Oh yeah, and one of the key things is to try to mitigate that ama from building up, right?
Exactly.
To stay in line with that balance. And one of the key things I found from talking with you in the last 2 podcasts was this whole worldview of Ayurveda and the elements of seeing the world in a more integrated way, seeing ourselves as part of that world. So it seems like much more of a balanced way and a more holistic way of viewing the world. And so where I want to go next is often coming from the West. Often we view time as a very, in a different way, for example. And I'm wondering how you can enlighten us with how Ayurveda sees time, because I know that the doshas also play differently. And you mentioned moon energy, sun energy. So could you maybe tell us about how the doshas and how the energies change from the morning all the way to the nighttime? Hey everybody, sorry to interrupt your podcast, but if I could take the time to ask you if you could please subscribe to this channel This would help me as I grow the channel to share the deep knowledge and wisdom of our guests, and I'd love to share that I'm offering one-to-one coaching if you want to dive deeper and know what lights you up in a safe and professional manner, to do things wholeheartedly for a career you like, and to do things such as meditation, dive into your personality with certain Eastern and Western tools. And I'd love to share with you some of the testimonials I've had from previous clients. So if that floats your boat and you'd like to go slow to go far, then you can have a free strategy session with me. You can visit my website, Jhoty.com. That link should be in the description. Enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Ayurveda says the two important thing which influences us is the kala and the karma. Kala is time, karma is action. I think, as you said, in the modern era, we just try to bend the time and just try to make use of the time. Time is money, or time is currency. It comes from a one point of like a me, self-centered. I only look into what I can achieve and what I can be good at, what I can do more. But we forget all the external things. We forget the influence of those things, and it's almost like you want to swim against the current by isolating, keeping yourself in a bubble. So time influences one seasonal time. The time during the daytime, time of your age, lifespan, where you are at. So these are the three important influences. The time influences dosha, or impact of the dosha on you. If you take our lifespan during the birth until the age of 16, it's influenced by kapha energy. So you're influenced by kapha. And from the 16, from puberty time until you're 40, 45, it's influenced by the pitta energy. Predominantly, your body goes through the pitta predominant effect. And then after, let's say, 50 onwards, it's a vata time. So the vata's energy of degeneration, decline in tissue maturation, degeneration, all those things start. So this is how time impacts your age. And no matter what's your constitution, this is an influence. That's why children are predominant kapha energy. And in the childhood period, we suffer from kapha-related illnesses. Particularly if you're a kapha child, this is one of the indication that you can see and recognize for you that kapha influences you, having easy runny nose and flu, constantly getting stuffy nose, all these things. Pitta time, from puberty until 40, 45, close to 50, that's a pitta time. That's our peak of a pitta's transformation energy. That's when we tend to look into who am I, find my passion, dharma, take action, be adventurous, ambitious, all those energies during that. And people experience pitta-related ailments or influences like skin issues, acne, acidity. Emotions are also predominant of pitta: anger, irritation, frustration. After menopause for women, or andropause, I call for men, after 50s, it's like vata related symptoms, aging process, dryness in the skin, degenerative health issues, dry skin, thinning of hair, thinning of the skin, all those things. Vata has anything to do with lightness, dryness, lack of moisture, all those things we start seeing. That's why we get wrinkles, because the moisture is less. Vata is dry in nature. So this is how during the lifespan, the influence of dosha is. And then season, we talked about different seasons getting affected. Summer, pitta; fall, vata; and winter, kapha. And also, within a day, there is influence of dosha. This is something key to for our dinacharya or rutucharya. Different routines, regimens that we can practice to take care of our body. It's like you have a machine, you know how long you can run a machine, and you need to clean it up, or you need to service it regularly. So body also needs such an attention. how long you can run it, when it need to give a rest, when we need to feed, etc. So the early morning time, 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., this is a time of Vata. Vata Kala is generally recommended to use this morning time of the Vata Kala, 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. For yogic studies and meditative spiritual seekers, they all wake up early and they use the Vata Kala because Vata is this vibrant energy, that's cosmic energy. You can connect, everything is quiet and calm, and you can connect to anything beyond your five senses can connect to. So it's so ethereal. So that's a time for any spiritual practices, meditation, connecting, creativity, all those things. So I know a lot of people think that a lot of artists, they get this creative power late in the night. We'll talk why it is and how it is not support you of your well-being. So here the concept during this Vata Kala, if you listeners, if you are Vata or if you have an impact of excessive Vata, you might have observed that people wake up around 4 o'clock. Particularly, I've seen a lot of Vata constitution people generally, or they have a Vata imbalance. They wake up around 4 o'clock and then they can't sleep. So this is a natural tendency for you because Vatas, anyway, they don't have much of this. Sleep is something for a Vata constitution is tend to be light and everything need to be quiet and calm because their nervous system is much more sensitive than Pitta and Kapha constitution. And because nervous system is related to the mind and any of the spiritual practices also comes through mind and spinal cord where we talk in yoga and Ayurveda, Kundalini or Ida, Pingala, they are reference to nervous system. So if a Vata wakes up at 4 o'clock and you can't sleep, as long as you have gone to sleep by, say, 10 o'clock, you should just get up. Get up and use for, if you into spiritual practices, practicing yoga, meditation, all those things you can do because you're going to harvest the better results from practicing at that time before 6 o'clock. Simply said, 45 minutes before sunrise, you want to be getting up and doing all the practices that you want to go to connect to your inner self and to the greater self. So that's the Brahmi Muhurta. The word means time of awareness or consciousness. So that's how Vata influences early morning, best time to practice for all constitution. And naturally, Vata has a tendency to wake up at the time. Okay. And then from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., it's the time of the Kapha. So that's where Kapha is predominant. And this is a time for you to do any kind of physical activities, exercise, all those things. So you have a lot of endurance. You can work with the body without depleting the body. And 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. is a time of Pitta during the daytime. So this is a time to eat. Pitta is predominant. Your fire is lit up, metabolism in its peak. So here is the time for you to eat all the food that you enjoy, which is more on the side of heaviness and all those things. So your body has a better chance to digest it. And also this is a time, Pitta is the energy of transformation. This is a time for you to do, all get your work done, do all the work related stuff, whether it's a manual labor or sitting on a desk and getting it because Pitta has this drive to get work done. And so same way after 2 p.m., again, the cycle begins. So 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. is again a Vata Kala, and then 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. is Kapha, and then 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Is again Pitta. So here the cycle is different. So here from the morning 2 a.m. it's a Vata in its power, Kapha in its power, Pitta is in its power. So later on in the evening time, because the solar energy activation is finished, so slowly we are moving towards the moon energy. Night begins, right? I'm aware that in some of the countries, during particularly the late spring and the summer time, sun doesn't go. So yes, you can stretch it a little bit, a couple of hours, you can move towards, stretching the day longer or the dosha period longer. So from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., if we feel a little bit dip in the energy, dip in the enthusiasm. So I do hear people tell me, by 3 o'clock, I'm dreadful. I'm so sleepy. I don't want to do any work. Vata's main energy is the spring of energy and enthusiasm. So this afternoon time for Vata, it feels a little bit low, unenthusiastic, no much of motivation. So this is not the time for you to do any kind of work that needs a lot of focus, attention, organization, or start something new. It's a time where you kind of slowly finish off, you wind down. So in the evening time, it's recommended when you come home, you want to chill and relax your Vata. So you want to be with family, have a cup of tea, check in with everybody. How was the day? So you want to have this more relaxing time to tone up the Vata again. Not to excite the Vata, but just to, balance it, relax the Vata because it's exhausted. It's exhausted. It started, it's a Vata is not in its power. Early morning, it is in power. So here the Vata is a bit debilitated. So you want to nurture that by, cup of tea and chilling out, talking to your family members, your spouse or children, having fun, relaxed time. And also from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., that's a time of the kapha. So generally recommended you want to eat your meals before the kapha time beginnings or at least the early stage of the kapha time because kapha generally dampens the agni or reduces the metabolism because it's meant to recover and rest because we've been active during the daytime and the evening charging of the battery need to happen. So it goes into the kapha mode of things slow down. So here you don't want to have a heavy meal. Basically, main concern is not to eat heavy, rich meal and then go to bed late because you want to catch the kapha train to get a good sleep. So because its body is preparing to calm down, quiet and relax, so you can sleep by before 10 o'clock or at least be in by 10 and get into a sleepy mode. As I said, you can 1 hour you can do plus and minus.
And does that change depending on your constitution? So the wake up time and the sleeping time, would that change depending if you're Vata, Pitta or Kapha?
Yes, because as I said, no matter your constitution, this dosha influence is there, right? There is a slightly influence. A kapha would easily feel sleepy much early. A vata maybe not so, because what happens with not only keeping in mind the time influence on the dosha or general tendency for sleep and wake up time, at 10 o'clock-ish, no matter what constitution is, you going to be influenced. So the sensitivity to sleep or awake is a bit different. A kapha needs a little bit of an extra stimulation for them to stay awake. But vata, if they're going to fall asleep and something suddenly drops or somebody's going to disturb them, they're going to get affected. So it's difficult for them to, fall back asleep. So you would want to create an environment which is much more calmer, suitable, and not disturbed. So this is something really important to take care for a vata constitution. And if vata doesn't fall asleep during its kapha time, then after 10 p.m. To 2 a.m., it's going to be pitta time. And as we know that pitta is energy of transformation, heat and, active and fiery. So it would become even difficult for them to fall asleep. So it's really, really important that during that time that quietness and sleep is taken care and relaxed and not to get affected by any external disturbances. So that's why it is important. See, as a vata need to be reestablished from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. to 6 p.m. And kapha need to be nurtured and pitta need to be recovered during the night. So as pitta has a general tendency to be active, moving, this work we need to internalize. From 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., this pitta time need to be used for repair, detoxing, organizing, transforming, all internal, so the body is ready in the morning again to perform.
And that power naturally rises then for the next day. And then after that rise happens for that dip, we are then recovering that energy as each cycle of that follows. And
Exactly.
for each dosha, do they have to do anything in particular throughout the day? Or will that energy naturally carry them the same as other doshas? Like, should a dosha be doing a particular activity in the day?
Yes, definitely. Say using the Brahmi Muhurta early morning time,
Mm.
but all constitution good because it helps their spiritual growth and spiritual performance.
Mm.
But a Vata taking a nap at 2 o'clock is definitely support you. So that's why the cat nap for Vata is important. So as the energy goes down, Vata becomes weak. So taking a cat nap can give a good boost
Wow.
until the 6 o'clock. And also precaution for Vatas, they should not exercise at the end of the Vata time because Vata is so depleted and you stimulate it, then it becomes difficult for you to unwind and go to sleep. So like at end of the day, some people try to go and do jogging or do a lot of physical exercise around 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock. So you basically activate your nervous system. Then it becomes difficult to fall asleep. But a kapha could use this. Kapha should not be sleeping around like a late afternoons, taking a nap, because they can harvest this vata energy to be more active and be productive. And same time, kapha can exercise. If you are overweight, having a lot of kapha symptoms, lethargic, heaviness, you can exercise in the evenings. You can exercise around 6 or 7 o'clock. So that gives you an extra stimulation, so energy. So this could be used if you have an excessive kapha or an imbalance of kapha. But a pitta must be not doing anything overly thinking, vigorous planning activities late at night. So for them, it's important they sleep, so batteries charge, everything put in place. Because how many times, like you or I have experienced, like if I have an issue or I could not find a solution, I could not resolve, I go to bed and the next day morning feels everything is put in place, right?
Yeah.
You even kind of have a sense of solution for it, because this is a pitta working at that time from 10 or 11 to 2 o'clock. The process of transformation, processing things happens at that time. So the internal cell repair, detoxification, all those things works. This is also reason sometimes, naturopaths usually say that if you wake up around like a 1 or 2 o'clock, your liver is being active, and liver is an organ connected to pitta. That's why people who wake up around 1 or 2 o'clock and cannot fall asleep, it also indicates that there are a lot of acidity, pitta-related imbalances or inflammation going on in your body, and body works extra hard. Hence, the heat released wakes you up and you can't sleep.
Wow.
And people get night sweats around that time also.
Yeah, so much information there, but the relationship we can actually use in terms of our doshas. And like you were mentioning about at the start, that maybe like designing our lifestyle around this. I can see how currently some work situations do not accommodate for that. So actually using certain rest times or times of productivity or exercise for vatas or kaphas can benefit them there in designing their day according to their doshas. So, and we were mentioning these different energies like solar, which can be related to solar plexus and power, and like moon energy. And so I'm wondering, what's the relationship now as we move from the doshas to the chakra system as well? Because I think that's not something we've spoke at least together on, but we have spoke on the podcast before with previous guests. If you can enlighten us between the relationship between doshas and the chakra system.
When we use the language of dosha here, mainly we are talking with respect to our body's function, relationship to these three doshas, outside and inside our body, and how it influences. When you talk about the influence of dosha and chakra, we go much more subtle. So subtler body. So we have a stula sharira, gross body, the physical structure, the muscles and bones we have got. And then there is an energy body also we have got, which we call sukshma sharira, so microcosmos. So in this sukshma sharira, chakras are just a spinning wheel of energy. This is chakra vibration in a very subtle energetic level, who you are on an energy sense. If you have a understanding of physical body, physical realm, and then I have my own energy body, energy realm, and it tells you where you are at and what's happening and which energy you're working on or where in your life. So the Muladhara and Swadhisthana chakra is related to more of a kapha, because kapha is physical grossness. And if you look in the chakra system, is also Muladhara Swadhisthana is about your existence, survival, which is in a form of, having to eat, enough to eat and have a comfortable home and shelter and all those things, and then reproduction to sustain life, right? So that's the Muladhara and Swadhisthana. So related to kapha, gross. And that's where we are mainly working on with our awareness in that way, because we got to exist, we got to procreate. That's the law of the nature, to continue and pass on the existence through your karmic memories or through the DNA, the cellular structure, and to continue the existence from ancestors. We all been doing that. And then comes the Manipura chakra, which is related to Pitta, and Manipura and Anahata, a little bit of Pitta is there too. So this is where the Pitta related, where Manipura chakra itself represents your identity in professionalism through your dharma, your self-expression, power, all those things. So this is where, as we evolve through our lifespan, it's about who I am, what I do, how I contribute, how I experience life through wealth and knowledge and personality, all those things. And once that's all done, then comes to the heart chakra. So where the Pitta energy is needed, because the motivation is needed for you to leave all this identity or attachment and then come to something bigger. So heart chakra, Anahata, is related to love, heart opening, connection, embracement, and oneness, right? And then the chakra above the throat chakra and the third eye and the Sahasrara, this is related to Vata, because spiritual awareness, spiritual growth, finally, we are also refining ourselves from the grossness of the earth element, then the earth and water, then the fire, and then the air, and then the space. So space is oneness, everything is connected. That's why also constitutionally, people with Vata energy, when they take care of themselves, when they are balanced, when they are not disturbed, they are much more capable of connecting to this energy. And if you see Vata people, they're much more sensitive to energy, people, esoteric qualities. You can see in Vata constitution. They love to talk about, they feel more than anybody else. Where a Kapha, they need to experience that through physicality for them to experience the spiritual aspect. But Vatas that's why they're spaced out in their head, or here we want to take their mind and the nervous system. So this is how it's also transcending quality of any human being, regardless of your constitution, but related to your constitution. Not only that, Ayurveda talks about karma, your ancestry, all those things influences. If you're coming from in a family who are into a lot of meditation, transformation, all those things, it does influence because it's transformed in your DNA and you carry that. Only thing is you just need to nurture that one to get a speed process in your awareness or your consciousness, or like a karma influences a lot, not only just your ancestry, your parents, but your own personal karma. So this is how the doshas related to the chakras, and chakras tells us the landmark of your own personal growth, your awareness, your consciousness, your spiritual level.
Wow. And so as we go into that chakra region, so for example, Vata, like you said, was on the top layers, Kapha, kind of the survival. So would it be in terms of relationships, would it be in, for example, Vata's best interests to not get, let's say, so spaced out and to work on Kapha balancing tendencies and Kapha the opposite, So to
Yes,
understand the relationship in that way as well.
absolutely.
Okay.
Because for us to experience spirituality, you need to be stable and grounded.
Right.
Because we still has to use the physical body, and if you're not comfortable physically, you're not grounded, you're disturbed physically,
Mm-hmm.
then how can you keep the mind still? Because in order for you to grow spiritually, you got to keep your mind still, and that's what all yoga and meditation and everything trying to do, or pranayama trying to do, to control the pathways of the breath so you can be still. Once you're still, then you can experience. So vata, if they are not still, because they have this ability to connect to these energies and understanding, but if they're not still and grounded in their physical body, it becomes chaotic, it becomes overwhelming. And that's where vata have this subtle ability, but they forget to take care of their body with the routine and enough sleep and diet and stuff. So they get carried away to, or kind of get lured into this energy and experiences, then they get lost. That's when I see in patients that they all have this extraordinary experience and sensations, and they can feel and see and do that, but they are very unsettled, very ungrounded, very erratic, because the physical body, the doshas are not balanced. They're not, physiology is not working properly.
Right. So the natural energy tendency is flowing to an area which causes a bit more unbalance than if it was working on all of the other ones equally. And then for the Pitta type, because Pitta is sort of like they're not right at the top, but they're not also working there at the Kapha energies as well. So what can they work on in terms of balance?
For pittas to not to get so carried on with the material identity or ego, because here, while you do your dharma, as it said in Bhagavad Gita, like, you don't compare yourself, because when you reach the Manipura chakra, all about success, being the best, and it should not come with you comparing to others and being in competition all the time. Only thing you could do is be in competition with yourself. So then it doesn't come with the mental qualities of anger, jealous, all those things. So if you start having anger, jealous, and stuff, you go downwards, you don't go upwards. So once you let go of your attachment to any of this success in the material world, or in the perception of the knowledge, if you're not attached to that, then you can raise up, because you just do because you want to be better within yourself, not because you want to be recognized or compare yourself to the other. So that's one Pitta need to be careful about, and processing their emotions, connecting, not isolating, not being egotistic.
And that's a bit, they can factor a bit more vata in then in order to rise that energy up. Is that right?
Yeah, so it means letting go of the attachment.
Okay.
Vata cannot attach because it's dry in nature. So that's why Vata constitution people, generally purely Vata, keeping anything is difficult. Keeping in the sense of money, wealth, or any relationship, because its attachment is a little less compared to other two constitutions.
And then going to Kapha now. So on the chakra, you said on more in the survival and being grounded, kind of the opposite of Vata. What can the Kapha do in terms of the subtle body understanding in order to balance himself as well?
Not just get stuck in the physical realm, which is related to the safety, food, which is something a big thing for a Kapha constitution. They love to eat. So not to get stuck in the same thing. The stagnation is an issue of a Kapha. Being grounded, it also needs some level of stability, but you want to be constantly working on being physically active, trying something new, fasting. All those things helps Kapha to not just get stuck in the physical realm of stagnation, but also be stable, and then raise up, trying something new all the time, and not completely being focused on food. and using food more of a nourishment, not just an indulgence. So this is what I would say for the kapha constitution. Try something new, exercise physically, just have some goals and motivations. So that will help you to, move forward.
And am I right in saying that the chakra system, that once balanced, everybody will still have a unique expression through these? So it's not like everybody will have the same balance, but they will have a unique balance in their own way.
Yeah, and whatever your samskara is, whatever your motivation is, you will experience the growth or your awareness of consciousness differently. That's why there's no one formula to be spiritually enlightened. There's many paths. Only just you have different practices.
So as you explored that macrocosm relationship with the doshas and then microcosm, now if we're looking at the relationship, what I think people will be interested in, and kind of the world where we're interacting with people. So for example, vata pitta pairing, and I know this happens inside of us as well, but for example, people like vata pitta pairing or vata vata, etc. Could you maybe go through the types of pairings and how these could work in relationships or family relationships or even work relationships?
As one has an awareness and understanding of all these matters, you can be in relationship with any constitution. That's an ultimate solution, because you are working on yourself. You have an understanding. But without that, to begin with, I would say similar constitution should pair with similar constitution. So because, a vata with another vata would have a great understanding of their fastness, the quickness, need for change, and all those things. And if you pair a vata with a kapha, without you personally working on your consciousness growth and all those things, you would have hard time to know the kapha being wanting to be slow and don't like physical activities and stay home, don't like changes. And you're a vata, you would feel very frustrated. Same thing could happen with the pitta. Pitta is motivated, ambitious, all those things, structured. And kapha's stagnation energy or content nature or vata's chaos can turn a pitta crazy. Not having this, right? But most of the time we are dual constitution. So if you look in the form of dual constitution, if you are a vata pitta constitution, maybe you want to get a constitution, you can choose somebody's pitta kapha or vata kapha, so you can bring the other energy of the groundedness into it. So just a little bit of, you still have one common energy of either pitta, or if you're a vata pitta, and you can get somebody, connect with somebody who are pitta kapha or a vata kapha. So there's some sense of similarity in understanding, and it also can help each other to nurture the pitta qualities from a vata pitta for a vata kapha person, or a vata pitta person could learn a little bit of and get grounded and supported by the kapha person's tendencies from a vata kapha partner. Way in a dual constitution to look into, so that you have something very common and then you have something really different that you don't have in you. So because when we meet someone, what attracts is also what we don't have. So you can see somebody like, being initially, if I'm a vata and I would meet a kapha person who is quiet, grounded, calm, and not disturbed and agitated, we like about that person because I'm lacking it. Right? So we just see, wow, it's nice. This person is so calm and quiet and so grounded, not disturbed by any problems, not complaining. We like it. So because we want to be that innately, balance is finding opposite. So we want that. So that's why we look into somebody, or most of the time it's also a disaster formula for we look into a relationship to have something I don't have so I can feel complete. So this is what we all start with, right? But it's a disaster because we kind of there's so much of expectation and demand from others to complete us. Go on.
Yeah. It speaks to like the level of consciousness that Ayurveda and understanding the doshas at that level can help, because if you understand the constitution of, let's say, your mom, your dad, your sister,
Exactly.
your boss, you can start to understand these qualities within yourself
Absolutely.
and then the other as well, which I feel why Ayurvedic relationship understanding can be quite fundamental.
Yeah. And then there is an innate tendency. It's not like they think and do intentionally.
No.
Then and then it also you being kind and compassionate towards and understanding towards it, not rationalizing, might help that person to be more aware. Even though they have a tendency, they can start moving, but then they can hold them back and make the changes what need to be done. So not end up in an argument or a fight because it doesn't make sense to the other person.
Yeah, no, their level of understanding is like amazing when you're looking at it in a level of that the human being exhibits that which is in that grander scale of things. So as we had that conversation, obviously people can follow that. As we talked about last time, I think we touched on this very briefly, and it was a type of not just relationships, but also the careers, the type, because people watching this, maybe they're at that stage in life where they're also finding, for whatever reason, their constitution, they're feeling not aligned to their certain hobby, passion, interest, or careers. So how does the relationship between the individual's dosha and the way they're carrying that out and their, let's say, their gift to the world, or to express that so they're aligned? So maybe we can go through each dosha and talk about that a bit more in depth. So we can start with kapha.
Okay, interesting question. Yes. Kaphas are generally very stable, grounded people. They make a great, when it comes to hospitality industries or a job in caring, nursing. So they love to care. They love to care and they have a lot of patience. So good teachers in the say, I'm saying more of a where you have to work with people with different challenges, where you need immense patience and caring and understanding, kindness and compassion. So this is where kapha could do a great in hospitality industry, nursing industry, caregivers, all those things would be their job. And they love to do it. And in the industry of nourishment, like a food, cooking, because they love one thing, kapha don't think much about spending money or their time is around food. They love hosting dinner parties and creating big venues, and they love about that job. So love, care, groundedness, anything to do with this kind of job, Kafas, this is your terrain, and you should really focus on that if what I'm saying is resonates with you.
And
Pittas,
yeah, like for the kapha, we also talked about last time the relationships between all the doshas, how they connect to each other. So in the kapha individual, how do they play also into the greater role of the balance when they're performing their operations?
See, kaphas are the ones, like, generally speaking, they're good at following a system and a method. If you want somebody to use a system that you have created and make sure that runs thoroughly, you want to choose a kapha individual.
Okay.
So if you give them a system, and if kaphas work very well with if they have a system, because they get into the routine and they love keep doing the same thing. It's hard to get them into a routine. So kaphas are the ones, if they have a routine, they will do it by, ditto. So without any kind of wanting to change or getting bored or nothing. So they're very sustainable in that way. So in an office situation, I would say, I'll come to that like when we finish both the pitta and vata. So I'll see how in the world, how this dynamic of vata, pitta, kapha works for it to, run smoothly.
Sure, let's do it.
Can I say about the pittas, like what's they're good at in what
let's dive
dharma
into
or
pitta.
the profession they need to? Pittas are, they are leaders. They have the leadership quality. They are visionaries. So they see things forward. They want to improve. They're ambitious, goal oriented. So they make a great leaders and managers, who organizers. This is a thing for them. So a CEO or a director, these would be, they are meant for that. They know how to organize things and make it work and make it better. So you want to be in a leadership position. So lead things and make your vision, structure it and get it done. So they also do a great professors and research institutions, director of the company, leading positions are, pitta good at it. And our vatas, because their thing is liveliness, communication, they would make a great salesperson. So vatas love to talk. They are good entertainers. Entertainment industry, sales and marketing, event organizing, all those things. They do need some help of the Pitta though for event organization, because they're very creative. They can be designers, coming with a creative idea. So this is creativity is Pitta, Vata's terrain. So they come with a lot of ideas, cheerfulness, enthusiasm, vivacious quality, fun lovers. These are the Vata's tendency. They would be great working with the young children, creative camps and those kind of things. Maybe it's too hard for them to be a school teacher because they get impatient or, bored with repeating the same thing always with the children. But having a small space, small span of time spending with creativity, like after school activities or doing camps for the kids, they would do so well with it because they like to be short span of entertainment activity and things. But generally speaking, sales, marketing are their terrain of strength. So if you see this in the world, we need vatas to come up with a lot of creative initiation energy. They're initiators. They come up with this, oh, we can do this, let's do this, or let's try this. This is vata. But they lack the ability to sustain what they have started. So there we need pittas who are going to take things seriously, structure and organize and have a plan how to get it done. So there needs a pitta's leadership quality. And actually, once it's all planned and how to do, then we need kaphas who would really make sure what they've started, they're going to finish it. So to sustain and continue to do, we need kapha, because kapha is, binding. There's no breakage. So once you start, it continues. So in the world, like we need the dynamism of Vata's initiative, Pitta's organization, and Kapha's ability to, keep doing it. So this is how it works. And in an office environment also, you want this kind of dynamic in a different positioning. So like all the manual labor staffs, you would do very well with the Kapha constitution. You have a structure, what they need to do, morning until evening, you finish off, they will do. So if you have a team and your CEO tells and plans and what you need to do, you want to manage it just to make supervisor, basically, who is kapha, who is going to make sure that everybody does and follow the things. And then you want vatas to have some initiative, creative ideas, and pitta visionaire to how to make it happen.
So it's almost as if like this Ayurveda can be brought into sometimes a corporate companies to be like, hey, this is actually the way things run, like in a natural world, and we can bring it in here to make things have a balance and a flow that could best serve the company.
Absolutely.
That's really amazing. And as you say that, I feel like that vata, and then like we talked about pitta, and then kapha lower below, and so you can kind of see that relationship happening in the body, but also like with the process, right? Because it's being thought of.
Exactly.
It's being put to plan, and then it's put into the ground and continued.
Yeah, and manifested in a physical realm of our experience by kaphas.
That's amazing. So I think we went through a lot of the relationships from the macrocosm to the microcosm, and then how it plays out in the real world here. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the viewers about the relationships of Ayurveda, and how could they be mindful of this?
Listeners, I just want to say that, it's not a rigid science. If you're a vata, whatever I said, it's not like that. The body is constantly trying to get the balance. It constantly balances at every minute of stuff. So if you have a general idea of this wake up time, eating time, sleep time, keep this bigger awareness of that and try to do that. And then, exercise timings. So there are certain do's and certain don'ts, definitely. So exercising during the midday time is not for exercising, because it's a time for you to eat food and let the food digest, and you want to exercise either early in the mornings or some restorative things in the evenings. And the seasons do affect whether you want to know about Ayurveda or you believe in Ayurveda, because it's going to affect you. So just pay little attention. So now I think this is in all our tradition, whether you're coming from Asia or Europe or South America. I think our grandmas always told us, don't do at this time of the day, don't eat this. I think there is a reason behind it. They're not just blindly want to control you or tell you what to do. So I think if you can just listen to your ancestrally things and the seasonal eatings, certain activities which are allowed or which are good and not good. I think just listening to that, and then it will be seen through the lens of Ayurveda. So it's not that difficult. We just need to pay attention, not just think body is a machine. And nowadays, there are a lot of life hack things. You do this, you do that, your body could be so powerful and you're almost invisible. No, their body has its own limitations. And as the word Ayurveda means, the root word is ingato, means that something is going towards ending. And the effort of Ayurveda is to delay this process, delay as much as possible, and give you a quality life. So all those things, if you could take 10-20% from each podcast you listen to, I think you are accumulatively, you will have more and more.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I think this sort of wisdom is really needed in this day and age. So I just want to thank you for the time and the wisdom for sharing that with the viewers on the podcast.
My pleasure.
Where can people find you again if they want to reach out and connect?
Yeah, you can reach out through our Instagram page, Amrita Siddhi, or you can reach us through our website, www.amritasiddhi.com. And yeah, if you want to have a consultation for your health issues or just to assess your constitution and learn about the best nutrition and lifestyle, you could do that. Or if you like to join us for a program at Bali at our beautiful center, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you so much. And yeah, if you're ever in Bali, I would recommend it. The center is so beautiful. Thank you so much again, Dr. Sujatha, and thank you everyone for listening.
You're very welcome, Jhoty. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.